The college football season is coming back, and we got you covered on every game. We're breaking it down on each snap all season long. Catch us every week starting on August 4th. Joe Aguirre, Sean Scanlon, Jace Garcia, and yours truly, Obi Muniz, giving you the highlights, predictions, and current rankings. Visit our website at hhwshow.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's all four downs, part of the CMG Sports Podcast Network.
If you own a business, you know how difficult it can be to get new clients. But what if you had your own sales team? BNI Somerset invites you to join us on Thursday, September 23rd to learn about how BNI Somerset provides a positive, supportive, and structured environment for the development and exchange of quality business referrals. Struggling to find more paying clients or want to take your business to the next level? Our group of business owners have passed hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of business to one another. Want to know how we did it? On Thursday, September 23rd at 8 a.m., we're hosting an event on Zoom where we show you exactly how BNI Somerset generated client after client for one another and how you could begin to apply the same simple steps to your business too. The reality is, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. BNI Somerset is incredible for building your personal brand and ensuring you are known. Join Somerset BNI's Visitor Day on Thursday, September 23rd at 8 a.m. via Zoom. All are welcome. For more info, visit bniwne.com/CT-Northern-Somerset-BNI. Businesses thrive by changing when the world changes, and the world is changing. BNI Somerset can make sure you don't get left behind.
Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clover Crest, top three corner man, punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, lock it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand and eight, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing, counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is throwing jabs.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Saturday morning fight day, baby. It is a big, big fight day. We got a lot to talk about. Big heavyweight matchup with Joshua and Usyk. Then UFC 266. Big Jace, Joe Aguirre, Jared Jones. We're going to break it all down. But let's start off recapping last week's fights. And let's start off in Bellator 266. Phil Davis got it done, but it was a split decision, a lot closer. I don't know if you guys thought it was going to be that close, but it was. And yeah, I had Yoel Romero. I'm not mad I got it wrong, but I want to know.
Is this sarcasm? Tell me you're being sarcastic right now.
Sarcasm right off the top.
Dude, I picked
Jace, apparently that judge and Jace watched the same fight and everybody else watched something else. How does one judge have it 30-26 and the other guy's got it 28-29? Jay, tell me how it was a close fight. This was dominant. I mean, Phil Davis was dominant.
I had it 30-27 like my man did. I don't know where you want to explain 29-28 to us. I'd love to
I didn't mind the 26. I didn't mind the 30-26, I didn't either. But I had 30-27 as well.
I wasn't going to be that mean because I know Jace likes Yoel Romero.
No, yeah, I mean, the more meaningful strikes, like I feel like Yoel Romero's strikes meant something a lot more. Phil Davis was able to mix in the wrestling. I mean, regardless, I wasn't impressed by either one. I mean, this felt like a normal Bellator fight. Wasn't anything special. But, I mean, you guys were talking a lot. You highly regarded Phil Davis. I want to know after this fight, Joe, How would Phil Davis fit into the UFC's light heavyweight division?
I don't know that there's a spot for him currently. And it's, listen, it's got as much to do with, I think that division's kind of stacked right now. Yeah, listen, when you're headlining a Bellator event against a washed-up UFC fighter, when you yourself were a UFC guy who just didn't hack it, and again, through whatever the reason exactly that Phil Davis, because he fought well in the UFC, he just didn't impress anybody. And here was a Friday night, all the attention in the world. That's it. You gotta, Phil, you gotta take your opportunities when you get them. And I think this is, I think this fight, is a perfect capsule of Phil Davis's career. That you go out and you beat down Yoel Romero. One guy didn't even see it, and otherwise nobody else cared for the most part. And as you said, Chase, he didn't put him away, and you're a put him away kind of guy, which is why I know you like Yoel Romero, because he usually puts people away, and that's a really definitive end to a fight. Right? If I knock you out cold in the third round, Jace, and I was beating you up to that point, it was a definitive dominating beatdown, and then I put you out. What would be better than that in a fight? Not much. So yeah, I mean, Phil Davis didn't change my mind about his UFC career.
Phil Davis is just good. He's just good. He's not great. He's not upper echelon. Where in the UFC? Somewhere right around the top 10, 8 to 12 maybe. But doesn't have that extra to get over the top. He doesn't. And here's my impression of the third judge at the end of the fight. 29-28. Right? Is that right? No? Oh, you had 30-26?
Hey, at least he wasn't apologizing.
You should know that one I need an apology for. The other one I didn't want an apology for. This one I need an apology for. You should never judge another fight. A guy got dominated. Yeah. I couldn't see a spot where I'm looking at 15 seconds worth of work and thinking Romero won that 15 seconds, let alone the whole fight. Give me a break. No, this one was bad.
I was
this
wondering.
One was every week for the last 3 weeks, we've covered a trash judge. This is the worst of those three.
Clearly, I was expecting 30-27 across the board.
Yes.
That was what I thought. So 30-26, I was like, well, yeah, okay, I could see that. 28-29. Again, what fight were you watching? Jared, just to take your joke a bit further, I woke up and was like, saw everybody else. Which one of these guys is Davis?
Maybe the third judge was Steve Harvey.
Hold on. I do think I understand where that judge comes from, because like I've mentioned before on the show, listen to me.
You were scoring your own way in your head. I get it.
Listen to me. Like I've mentioned on the show, we are adapting boxing judging to MMA, and you get boxing judges and they see a wrestler like Phil Davis, they're like, oh, that's cool. What is that he's doing? Doesn't look like he's necessarily hurting him that much when he takes him to the ground. So is that even a thing? So I get where it's coming from. It should have had that way. No. I do think, though, Phil Davis is very, very outdated. Like in the days of Josh Koscheck, the days of those wrestlers that would just get you to the ground, kind of lay on you, control the fight. I think he would have thrived, but he's just a little too late. The game's adapted, and he hasn't really gone with it. You see glimpses where he can, and he might be able to take that next step, and then it's back to just being a wrestler.
Marvin Vettori Marvin Vettori fights exactly like that. He'd get you down and lays on you, and that's how Jan Blachowicz beat Israel Adesanya. That was the style and method used in that fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's obsolete. It's not. It's definitely, Jace, I'll give you this. You don't see a lot of guys doing it anymore. And I'll be quite honest, I think Phil Davis is a big part of the reason why. It just doesn't, Dana doesn't care for it.
Well, neither do we.
I do.
Would you rather see this guy fight than a Justin Gaethje, Nate Diaz? Come on, don't do it. Now you guys are both being sarcastic.
No,
hold on. Let me explain.
You're
what I'm
clamoring to watch the next Phil Davis fight. I get it.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Me too, probably, but I don't.
Of course you will. The reason why I don't mind a fight like this, and again, you go the distance, right? There was no doubt in my mind, like I said, that Phil Davis outfought Yoel Romero. I had plenty of time. Yoel didn't knock him out in the first 10 seconds. It's like, oh, I don't know how good Phil Davis is. He got knocked out in 10 seconds. So an entire fight. And here's what I saw from Yoel Romero. There's a reason he's not in the UFC anymore. There's a reason he'll never be back in the UFC. It's over for him. This was Phil Davis's chance to get Dana's attention and maybe get back to the UFC. And this wasn't gonna do it in any way, shape, or form.
Very underwhelming.
But no, I what Joe was saying, like I was okay with Phil Davis before. Like I'm a wrestler. I wrestled in high school. I liked wrestling. I like the intricacies. I like setting up the setups for the shots. I like watching all that stuff. But when you have a guy like Khabib who just does that another level and just dismantles people, that ruins the whole sport of wrestling for me, for everything else when it comes to MMA, because you got this dude being dominant and showing his dominance to everyone. And you got guys like Phil Davis who wrestle really well. And yeah, it wasn't 30-27, but people don't know what they're watching. If they're a boxing judge or something, like why we got this score 28-29. So, yeah. So, all right. Speaking of wrestling,
dude, I can't imagine even an American Idol judge should have known the difference between 30-27 and I think that guy won. I liked him better. He's got more zazz.
That Boffa guy was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
but I mean,
dog, you would have been like, dog.
Dude, I mean, it's just continuous. We always have these bad judges. I don't know what it is. Like I said before, I mean, like I've said in the past, there was it was Tyron Woodley versus Wonder Boy 1. Tyron Woodley had, I don't remember what round it was. Most of the round, he got Wonder Boy down, had him in a guillotine. After the fight, he talked to one of the judges, and the judge was like, why are you wasting your time on the ground in that position? He obviously doesn't know that he's about to choke him out. He can't see that. I don't know why. But, yeah, judging in MMA is ridiculous. Especially, like I said, you're adapting boxing to something that's more than just boxing.
I hate to say this, but they need to adapt more of the figure skating judging to this.
I'm not mad at that.
I know, Jared, that seems like a joke, but listen, like there's points for your program. There's points if you hit the triple axel.
Degree of difficulty.
Yeah. And so there's an actual, like some, at least, overall way to score. So you at least have an idea where, again, it's not like just write down 10-9 next to whoever you think.
A little more realistically, have you seen the PFL scoring system I've been talking about?
Yeah.
Where they do the impact percentage scoring? That I've only seen that get a different person than me one time, and it was such a close fight, I wasn't going to be mad about it. This is the type of thing, because at the end of this fight with Phil Davis, you wanted to be Phil Davis. You didn't. That was the guy you would have rather been, and that's kind of there's a line in judging that's kind of how you're supposed to judge. Which guy got beat more? You know, I wouldn't want to be that guy. Rather been Phil Davis. He took less damage. So when you've got a computer kind of compulating who took the damage, right? Because now Romero's getting points for those heavy shots. Those 90s are 245s. You understand what I'm saying? This is the closest thing to a fair and just scoring system that I've ever seen instituted, and I'd like to see it take a little bit in the UFC and even in boxing. If we can get the mile per hour on the punch and then know that it hit its target, then instead of just landed punches, we get like an impact percentage score. And then you tally it all up at the end of the round and tell me who won the round. And if you do that for this Davis-Romero fight, it's 30-68.
Hold on. Before we move on, though, Jared, you mentioned, you wanted to be Phil Davis after the fight because of like the damage, right? Let's go back to last week. Did you want to be Valdez after that fight? Because I don't think so.
Oh, with Rigondeaux?
No, with Conceição. That dude was messed up. That was one of those fights, like, he won, but if you're just looking at the two guys, I mean, Dan Henderson.
Well, not by his face, but by the damage. You got to the end of the round and like, ooh, that guy got hit in the face more. You know, not the look at the end of the fight, but who took more damage? Which one of those batches of strikes would I rather take? Which, the Phil Davis mauling and tackling and all of that stuff. And I think you're really right that people that have been in those positions don't really have understandings of what that damage is. You've got people trying to score takedowns in like this vague relative sense, and they've never been taken down. So how could they possibly know like how much that takes out of you or what kind of damage is done by the power of the slam? You kind of take down and you got a bunch of strikes and he ended the round on top.
Yeah.
So we need to do something.
Yeah, but
and I only see one good idea.
yeah.
And figure skating. We'll put that as that can go second.
I mean, not for nothing, Chase.
I was just looking for this.
What is it? What is it that you saw that? I mean, I'm just curious. I just kind of was like
29-28 Romero.
Dude. Listen, I get it. But also those takedowns, not a lot of them really.
There was 5 of them in 3 rounds.
5 out of 7
I get it. But what's the control time?
How about the 20 knees Davis threw to 0?
I got it. Yoel won. I love Yoel, so I'm trying to give him some respect,
No, I know you
Hold
are.
on. Okay. Now let's talk about a fight. Let's just move on. UFC fight night. Smith versus Spann. Smith got it done convincingly, rear naked choke. And, I mean, we all picked Spann. We all thought he was an up-and-comer. No, Jared, you changed it last. I'll give you the floor. What did you see?
Just started watching highlights, and there was something like underwhelming about Spann. I felt like that when these guys met, if you go to decision, maybe it's Spann, but these guys haven't seen a lot of guys like each other. So you may end up with a stoppage. And I sent you pictures of my bets. I took Anthony Smith and the under and hit them both. So I don't know. As I was looking ahead of time, I'm looking at the numbers, and one's on the way down and one's on the way up. I'm looking at the trajectory, but when I really got into watching them fight, Anthony Smith is more versatile and more diverse than Ryan Spann. And I thought maybe he'd stop him. So after all picking Spann, when it came crunch time, I took Smith and the under, which you're welcome.
Yeah. All right. But I will. I think Spann, this is a good loss for Spann because now you understand the levels. Because Anthony Smith was, I mean, he is a contender in that light heavyweight division. And Spann understands now, he knows, he's felt the difference between a contender and trying to get into the top 25. And hopefully he can take this as a learning point and continue the trajectory he had and get back there. But, I mean, Anthony Smith is a tough guy. This was his 52nd fight, and he's still pretty young considering that many fights. So, he's tough. We said it would be a big notch in Ryan Spann's belt if he got it done. He didn't get it done. Joe, what did you think of it?
I just don't like Anthony Smith. Is ultimately what it comes down to. He's won 3 in a row, and he does win a lot. This guy's won a lot more than he's lost in his career. I talked about it last week. He, got off to kind of a bad start to his career. And he's been playing catch up ever since. And really all he's done lately is win. And as you said, Jared, he does it in different ways. He'll knock you out or he'll choke you out. And Jace, I would think that you, among all people, would love that more than anybody. This guy's kind of, your ultimate stand-up on the ground threat. No matter where he is, Anthony Smith can beat you. I saw Ryan Spann as somebody who I thought was definitely making some moves. Anthony Smith does very much come across as a gatekeeper. Unfortunately for Spann this time, Smith kicked the gate closed. It's almost like Spann was trying to break in to Anthony Smith's gate, and Smith did just enough to hold him off till the cops got there. You know what I mean?
When you get stuck with your sibling at the door and you're both pushing on and one of you jams your foot at the bottom of the door so you can't, and it's just kind of a yeah, no, but I agree. This is kind of, but we can't, but I don't know if I can call Anthony Smith a gatekeeper yet. I keep waiting for him to be the gatekeeper and keep waiting.
Very much back in the contention now. I mentioned earlier, this is a really good division. Yeah. I mean, I think a loss would have confirmed it for he's out, because they're trying to get some new blood in this division. And again, I thought Spann had from the highlights, I thought he was there. He's not, as Jay said, he's definitely not there yet, but we'll see. Anthony Smith, maybe ride this out a little bit longer, see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, in your opinion, how far out is Anthony Smith from getting that matchup with Blachowicz?
Fight or two.
Yeah, I really, depending on probably not next fight, but 2 for sure. Again, kind of depends how everyone else shakes out. But yeah, I mean, this win, I think, definitely puts him in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird, though. I mean, with he's got 2-3 fights before the title. I'm not confident he can get through that, though, because he is that. He's that good. He's really, really good, but there are just times he just doesn't get it done.
Rakic, Prochazka, Teixeira, Blachowicz. So I think he should fight Teixeira because those other 3 guys will smoke Anthony Smith. He's 4th right now. A title shot. Yeah, I mean, geez. That's the only one he can beat on that list. Behind him is Santos Reyes.
He lost to Teixeira. Teixeira was the one that knocked his teeth out of his mouth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, take that rematch and go away.
Regardless, he is really good. I think both these guys are really good. Smith, I mean, he's still a predominant figure in that division, whether he does get to the next title shot or not. And Spann, I think this is a good loss for him. And I think he's still young. Take this loss, learn from it, and I think he can get back into contention in this light heavyweight division. But that's
before we move on.
Okay.
I don't know if you were planning on talking about the breaking news from last evening, because we're talking about light heavyweights. And I know he was the king of the division. Now he's a 255-pound domestic abuser. But John Bones Jones was arrested in Las Vegas. And Dana's comment was something like, we just can't bring John to Vegas. Every time we do, it's trouble. He's got demons, man. He's got demons, or something was the quote. Dude, John Jones is one of the greatest talents ever to participate in this sport. Yeah. And he's a classic example of like the out of control athlete where just nobody's ever going to tell this guy what to do. You know, he could have fought Stipe in the interim here. The opportunity was presented to him. John waited a lot and decided Stipe doesn't have a belt right now. As great as Stipe is, he liked the matchup. Not worth his while. You know, I think John forgets that when you don't fight, you're more vulnerable. Your chances of losing are greater. And when all you do is screw up out of the cage, you make it more difficult to get yourself back into the cage.
Yeah.
And for a guy who talks as much about his legacy as he does, everything he does outside of the octagon is detrimental to his life, his freedom, his future, and his legacy. And I don't understand it. I'm still a huge John Jones fan. I saw that, and I mean, again, it was just a punch in the face. And I was kind of surprised to hear Dana speak on it so quickly. I thought that was a little I didn't like that too much, especially he's got demons. Well, we all know John's got demons. Yeah. Who's in charge of like watching John Jones when he's in Vegas? That needs to be somebody's job from now on, or just have him fight in Jacksonville.
Need a bodyguard to protect
Albuquerque or wherever. Yeah, I mean, what an absolute shame, dude.
And I don't think I can come up with Billy Collins. If I'm trying to come up with a more shameful story, Resto and Collins comes to mind. But the thing about John Jones for me is, give me the guy pound for pound. If let's assume everybody in the world lives up to their full potential. Pound for pound, who are you putting ahead of John Jones? Nobody. Nope. Anderson Silva, maybe if we back up a few years. But right now, if this guy's meeting his potential and hitting his full trajectory, who's beating him? Who's beating this guy at full speed? And this is what we get? 255? What did you say? Cocaine or bar fight? What happened? Come on, man. Come on. This is one of the most tragic tales as far as athletic ability to decline that I can ever remember in the game. I never remember somebody being so talented and sitting there at the toilet and waiting for the water to refill so they can throw some more of their life in and flush it again. I've never, ever seen it to this degree.
Yeah, and I this is why he will be the greatest fighter of all time, but not the greatest mixed martial artist. He can get in there, he can scrap with anyone, and he can do his thing against anyone. But that doesn't make you it doesn't make you a martial artist. The stuff outside of the ring, this stuff is why he's a fighter. He's got those demons. He's got all this stuff. He isn't fighting for the sanctity of the game and the sport. He's fighting because he's got all this stuff outside he's got to deal with, and he's got to pay for that. So him, Conor McGregor, they are great fighters. They're not mixed martial artists.
Adrian Broner
is a mixed martial artist.
They're fighting to pay their legal fees. Video? I like that.
Yeah. You guys see the Adrian Broner video? No. He tried to go through it without, I'll send it to you. He's in court. He tried to go through it without a lawyer. She's like, you were supposed to answer the question. He's like, yeah, well, I was trying to explain where he's getting his money from. doesn't really have the answers, but has decided he's going to go about it himself, and she's going to let him out because he has a fight coming up, and she's just like, this isn't part of it. You have to take responsibility for what you did. And at one point he goes, "Did you? So Yana, you wanted different answers to the questions?"
Oh my God,
it's the most hilarious thing. Yeah. So Adrian Broner. Different answers.
Professional athletes in court. I would watch that channel 24/7.
Especially represent themselves. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay a lawyer.
Celebrity self-representation in court.
Your boys with Floyd Mayweather. But
that'd be my favorite TV show.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that's wild. Hopefully, John Jones can get it all figured out and make his debut at heavyweight. Because regardless, when whatever it does happens. I still want to see him in the octagon because he's a great fighter, not a great mixed martial artist. But
not a great human being.
Oh yeah, that's why he's a fighter, not a mixed martial artist.
Not a lover.
Yeah, but all right, we will get to the big fights this weekend. But first, here's a little word from Mosquito Shield.
It's been a pretty wet summer in Connecticut, and that means more mosquitoes than ever. If you didn't have your home service for mosquito control and find you're spending most of your time outside swatting those little pests, you are in luck. Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut provides the best value in mosquito control services because of how they treat your yard using the Mosquito Shield tailored treatment system. They don't use a fixed schedule or an identical product one-size-fits-all service program because you can't control mosquitoes on a set number of sprays or visits. Unlike the competition, Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut will service you for the season, whatever it takes to provide superior results. This promise has awarded them an industry-leading consumer retention rating of 90%. Visit MosquitoShieldCT.com to schedule an appointment with Wade DeCesare and enjoy the rest of your summer mosquito. And in his next fight, knocked out Charles Martin with a straight right to win the IBF world title. He defended it twice with knockouts over Dominique Brazil and Eric Molina before taking on the legendary former heavyweight kingpin Vladimir Klitschko. In one of the history's greatest heavyweight battles and classic passing of the torch moments, Joshua survived the first knockdown of his career and had to rally back to stop his former mentor at the end of the 11th round to win the vacant WBA and IBO titles. 6 months later, he stopped Carlos Takam and on March 31st, 2018, defeated Joseph Parker by unanimous decision to claim the WBO belt. He defended his titles with a 7th-round TKO of Alexander Povetkin, and 9 months later took on last-minute replacement Andy Ruiz in Madison Square Garden. What was happening in a much more controlled and cautious manner and winning back his belts with a wide unanimous decision. On December 12, 2020, he defended his unified titles with a dominant victory over Kubrat Pulev, dropping him twice in the 3rd before knocking him out with a right cross in the 9th round. An expert tactician, Joshua uses a solid jab and good footwork to set up his and be overly cautious at times. Joshua also has a killer instinct, pouncing on his opponents when they're hurt and finishing them off with an array of hooks and uppercuts. In a showdown between two of the most technically sound boxers in the division, will it come down to the stamina and fluidity of Usyk or the size and power of Joshua? Tune in Saturday night to the perfect storm, Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk, and let's find out.
Oh boy, I'm excited. This is going to be a fun fight. I know a lot of people love Anthony Joshua, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't know who Oleksandr Usyk is. But when you're in the same conversation as Evander Holyfield being the only undisputed cruiserweight champion, you gotta take that into consideration. He's a beast. It'll be a fun fight. Now, the only question I have is, what Anthony Joshua are we gonna see? Ruiz 1 or Ruiz 2? Is he gonna come out calculated and try and have a technical fight with Usyk? Because that would be phenomenal. Both these guys, beasts. If he can do that, I think he gets the nod. But if he comes in and looks for a brawl, Usyk's good enough to put Joshua's lights out. I'm going to go Joshua to get it done. But I do think it's going to be a fun fight regardless. But it's a lot closer. It's going to be a lot closer of a fight than people think. Joe, how do you see it playing out?
Well, I see it being a lot closer than people think. I do think Oleksandr Usyk will win the fight. Yeah, I'm going to go there. I think there's going to be a stoppage around, let's say, 8 or 9. I'll tell you what I think will happen because, listen, Usyk has been looking forward to this fight. He was willing to step aside for Joshua to fight Fury just for the unification. I mean, and this guy's very strategic. All these Russian guys, I'm telling you, they're on another level when it comes to this kind of sport. They really are. Just understanding what's going on and to be willing to step aside. Now, obviously, they made Fury and Wilder fight, so this seemed like Usyk was going to settle for Joshua. I think Usyk is going to take this guy apart.
I hope he doesn't fight like a Russian. He's Ukrainian. He's Ukrainian.
Same difference.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah.
They all look alike. Come on, Joe.
They look alike. They sound alike.
they're maulers, and
anybody from the
they're like the
Soviet
old Cuban
Union.
Boxers.
Yeah, anybody from the former Soviet Union. If you're in one of those republics, Dagestan or Uzbekistan or Ukraine or any of those places, I'm afraid of you. I'm instantly afraid of you. Yeah. I think Joshua, after initially, Jason, I think you're going to get what you want. I think the beginning of this fight is going to be an amazing technical, two guys going at it. I think Joshua, and I hate to say this because I love Anthony Joshua. I think when it comes to these two guys, if you said which one of these guys might break rank and kind of get more into a brawl and away from the technical thing, it'll be Anthony Joshua 10 out of 10 times. Oleksandr Usyk won't do that. So I don't think he has to fear getting knocked out. I mean, it would take a lot for Joshua to finish Oleksandr Usyk. I think Usyk will get to finish Joshua because I think Joshua will do something stupid.
Wow.
I think he'll get frustrated.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but that's kind of how I'm seeing
can see
this.
that happening. Jared?
You guys know I'm big on amateur careers. 350 amateur fights for Cover Your Mouth Usyk. And this is one of the guys that I just got that. Hey, you're welcome. This is one of the guys from the very beginning. Victor Ortiz, Usyk, and Beterbiev. I've been wanting the Beterbiev-Canelo fight. But months ago, you asked what are the fights that could put boxing on the map, and I said, I think you need an Ortiz Jr. to beat a Bud Crawford. You need a Beterbiev to beat Canelo Alvarez. Or you need a Usyk to beat an Anthony Joshua. Joe, I agree with you. I don't think Joshua has named the opponent Anthony Joshua faced with the chin, lateral movement, stamina, IQ, footwork. You said a lot of this in the tail of the tape. Speed. I don't think he wins any of those arguments if I'm given one or the other. What I do think he wins is maybe jab, size, probably power. And all of that being said, what Jace said, he needs to win a boxing match here. I don't know if he can. And Jace also said he can't win a slugfest. So I'm looking at the ways for Anthony Joshua to win, and I don't see a lot of them besides get on top of him and maul him. Usyk has never been down. 350 amateur fights. That's 368 times. He got into the ring with another human being, another dude his size, and has never touched the ground. That's outrageous. That's outrageous. So, if you can't outbox that guy, what are you going to do? You have to do what the only guy he struggled with so far, Chisora. You have to do what Derek Chisora did. Get on top of him, be the bear, try to maul this guy, and that's not how Joshua fights. He's going to get picked apart until he loses his nerve, and then he's going to get knocked out. Joe said 8 or 9. I say 7. Be careful with the over-under here, folks. Alexander, cover your mouth, Usyk, by knockout.
I love it. Well, I do want to point out, if it does turn into a brawl, Joshua can win. Joshua can knock out Usyk. I just think Usyk.
What's your evidence? Show me the clip where he got rocked or touched the ground.
If it turns into a brawl, anything can happen.
I know anything can happen, but you have no evidence this guy can get rocked. I got some evidence of Anthony Joshua. I think it's in our intros. It's one of our intros has a clip of Anthony Joshua looking like he's on strawberry legs.
Usyk isn't gonna let this get into a brawl. There would be no need to.
No,
there will be no need to. And exactly, I'll tell you what, if
10 out of 10 times.
If Anthony Joshua comes at him because he's hurt and dazed and wants to just start throwing, Usyk's a really smart fighter. And that, to me, would be even worse for Joshua. You know what I mean? I think Joshua walks into something or gets caught with something. It's a tough fight for Anthony Joshua. And again, you said it right off the jump, Jace. Because most people don't know Oleksandr Usyk, it's easy to just assume he's going to waste this guy. This is going to be a much better fight than people think, and it is going to end in a stoppage.
And here's what Joshua does wrong, if I can take it even a step further and make a bolder prediction here. Anthony Joshua lands punches and gets proud of himself. He gets Rewatch that Ruiz fight because Ruiz got hit hard right before every time he rocked Joshua. So I think this will be about Usyk setting up Joshua with that doom, and he gets a little happy and a little proud of himself and gets in there and gets clipped. And that's all she wrote. Usyk can finish. Can Joshua win? Yes. Is it a coin toss? Yeah, Joshua's favored. He opened 3-1 though, and now he's down to like plus 180. So the people that waited for the weigh-in to place their bets are putting their money on Usyk, the majority of them.
I will say, though, if Usyk wins this fight, it needs to be by stoppage. Because I don't see the judges. I think if it goes the distance, it's going to be close, and I see the judges giving the nod to Joshua just because of how corrupt boxing is when it comes to that stuff. So I don't see Usyk winning the decision. So the
29-28.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. But now, switching over from the boxing ring to the octagon, we have a great pay-per-view. 2 title fights. Let's start off with the co-main event.
Coming up Saturday night at UFC 266, flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko defends her title against Lauren Murphy in Las Vegas. Let's break it down. Lauren Murphy is 38 years old. She's 5'7" with a 67-inch reach and a record of 15-4 with 8 knockouts and 1 submission. From Anchorage, Alaska, Murphy lost her father in a plane crash when she was 11 years old, causing her to fall into a deep depression, which led her down the path of drugs and alcohol addiction, and she eventually dropped out of high school. While attending nursing school, she began taking her son Max to Brazilian jiu-jitsu classes, gradually falling in love with the martial art and deciding to pursue a career in MMA. Foregoing an amateur career, she made her professional debut on June 9th, 2010, at the age of 27, with a first-round knockout of Chloe Wayland. She won her first 5 fights by TKO before making her debut in Invicta Fight Club, scoring a unanimous decision over Caitlin Young. In December of 2013, she won the Invicta Bantamweight title when she defeated Miriam Nakamoto after a knee injury rendered her unable to continue. Following the bout, she signed with the UFC, losing her debut to Sarah McCann, then 10 months later dropped another decision to Liz Carmucci before winning her first performance of the night with a third-round TKO of Kelly Fashholes. After a unanimous decision loss to Caitlin Chikagian, she appeared on the Ultimate Fighter 26 as part of the process to crown the UFC's first female flyweight champion, losing via decision to Nico Montano. Following a decision loss to Sahara Eubank, she bounced back with a brutal TKO of Maria Barella and a controversial split decision over Andrea KGB Lee. In June of 2020, she defeated UFC veteran Roxanne Modafferi and 4 months later submitted Lalela Shakarova via rear naked choke. On June 12, 2021, she engaged in a thrilling back-and-forth battle with Joanne Calderwood, just edging her out with her wrestling skills to earn a split decision. A durable and highly aggressive pressure fighter, Murphy possesses excellent grappling skills and power in both hands. Valentina Bullet Shevchenko is 33 years old. She's 5'5" with a 66.5-inch reach and a record of 21-3 with 7 knockouts and 7 submissions. Born in Kyrgyzstan, her mother Elena was a Muay Thai champion and got her into martial arts at the age of 5, and at the age of 12, she began her kickboxing career. She amassed a record of 57-2, winning 8 gold medals in international competition and becoming recognized as one of the greatest Muay Thai fighters of all time before switching to MMA. After winning her first 7 fights by stoppage, she lost to Liz Carmucci by a controversial doctor stoppage after she sustained a nasty cut from an illegal kick. After racking up 5 more wins, she dropped a decision to all-time great Amanda Nunes. She bounced back with a dominant win over Holly Holm and a performance of the night submission of Juliana Pena to set up a rematch with Nunes for the bantamweight title. In an exciting and highly tactical fight, Shevchenko dominated the action, but came up short, losing a hard-fought split decision. Following the loss, she moved down to flyweight, submitting Priscilla Cachoeira by rear naked choke, and then dominated former kickboxing rival Joanna Jędrzejczyk in impressive fashion to claim the vacant title. In her first defense, she knocked out Jessica Ai with a highlight reel head kick and then got a revenge on Liz Carmucci, winning a dominant one-sided decision. Next up was Caitlin Chikagian, and after controlling the fight with punches, grappling, and an impressive spinning wheel kick, she caught Chikagian in a crucifix and landed a barrage of punches to stop the fight. After scoring a unanimous decision over Jennifer Maia, she made her fifth defense against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist Jessica Andrade, beating her at her own game as she scored numerous takedowns while dominating the fight before catching her in a crucifix and stopping her with a hail of elbows. Perhaps the most well-rounded fighter in all of MMA, Shevchenko is an excellent counter-striker with an exceptionally high ring IQ and the ability to gauge distance with a leg kick before and after landing a flurry. On defense, she typically counters with a spinning back fist or wheel kick and possesses elite-level grappling, boasting some excellent submissions. Can Murphy use her natural strength and aggressive style to pull off a massive upset? Or will Valentina's ring IQ and overall skill make it an easy night's work as she tries to make her sixth defense and eyes a potential trilogy fight with the great Amanda Nunes? Tune in to UFC 266, Valentina Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy, and let's find out.
I think we're all going to be on the same page here. Joe.
Oh, I've got something for you here, though.
Win. Not can she win. How would Lauren Murphy go about beating the Bullet here?
I don't know, because I don't know that there's a formula for it. And if there were, I don't know that it would apply to Lauren Murphy's skill set.
Illegal kick.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, she's won her last 5 fights. 3 of them are by decision, 2 by controversial split decision over Calderwood and Lee. She's never beaten anybody who's currently ranked in the top 5. I don't even know why I don't even know how she's earned the right to be in the ring with somebody at the level of Shevchenko. I really don't get it at all. I guess if you're Lauren Murphy, I don't know, maybe when you get taken down, maybe you could somehow, I don't know. I watched all these fights and I walked away thinking, I don't know how Shevchenko isn't going to crucifix and just pound this. I don't know how Lauren Murphy is going to stop all of the different skill sets that Valentina Shevchenko has and all of the things that she brings to the table. The one thing I'll say about Lauren Murphy, she's a tough SOB. But this is not the person I'd want to be in the ring with if I was Lauren Murphy. Yeah, this isn't gonna end well for Murphy. I really don't see a way. I mean, maybe somebody throws a banana peel into the ring, Shevchenko slips, gets knocked out. I don't know. Crazier things have happened.
She slips on some Vaseline on the way in the corner, does $1 million baby on the stool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
could be something
but I
like
do
that.
have something for you. I've got something for you.
Okay.
2-1 odds. Okay, I'm going to double your money on this one, and it's not the puncher's chance. There was an kickboxing bout that Shevchenko lost by decision in 2015. There was also an exhibition bout that Murphy lost to Nico Montoya. If you count those between them, they lost 9 times. Neither has ever been stopped. You go back to that 2010 illegal kick to find a stoppage, okay? Which coincidentally, 5 days from now will have been 11 years ago since either one of these girls has been stopped. Furthermore, might just be coincidence, but since the first loss to Nunes, home, decision, Pena stoppage, Nunes decision, stoppage, decision, stoppage, decision, stoppage, decision, stoppage, Lauren Murphy by decision. So goes the distance, gives you 2-1 odds. you play Shevchenko wins by decision, it's up to 280. And I think that without Murphy having been stopped, neither girl's been stopped, and that pattern of the last 11 fights going back and forth from stoppage to decision, we're on pace for a decision. Looks like a pattern. Shevchenko by decision.
Yeah, that is a weird pattern that is developed. Part of that came with, I know specifically in the Jennifer Maia fight, she knew Jennifer Maia posed zero threat. And after the fight was talking about just trying to get some rounds in. So kind of carried Maia. I'm not even joking. And like I said, listen, Murphy's tough. Right, Jared, there's no reason to think that Murphy can't take a beating for 3 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
As long as she can stay out of the crucifix, you could take a beating for 3 full rounds. I think she can do it.
Yeah. And I could easily see this turning into the kind of fight where you put the responsibility on the corner man, where she's doing enough for the ref not to stop it, but not enough to win the fight. And somebody's got to get her out of there. And I saw a boxing match just like that. And the announcer said, like, I would have told this guy at the end of the 6th round, hey, you lost every round. I'm going to stop this because you can't win. And if you can, you might as well do it now. So you have one more round. Go in there and knock the guy out. See if you can get something from him. Because to just lose 100-90, 100-90, 29-28, you lost every gas. And I think that it could easily turn into this kind of fight where Murphy is not taking enough damage to stop it, but at the same time, she's not winning any exchanges. And somebody should take the responsibility besides Lauren Murphy to save her from herself. Like you were saying about John Jones.
Yeah. By the way, November 24th, Halle Berry's directorial debut. She stars in the film Bruise. They just released it at the Toronto Film Festival. Looks pretty good. The main protagonist in this MMA-inspired movie, starring as Lady Killer, none other than Valentina Shevchenko, in a co-starring role to Halle Berry.
That's awesome.
Sign me up.
I'll watch that then. But hold on. I get what you're saying, Jared, about Lauren Murphy's really tough, and she has this streak of not being finished, but Valentina is a pound for pound great. Lauren Murphy is journeywoman, gatekeeper, if you want to call her that, I guess. I don't see any alternate universe where Valentina does not dominate and get this done. First round, we'll go crucifix.
You're taking the stoppage.
Yes. Because if Valentina Shevchenko can go, hey, I want to get rounds in with Jennifer Maia, you don't think she can go, oh, Lauren Murphy hasn't been stopped in how long? Let me break that streak.
Ever.
Okay, and never is never forever, my friend.
No. Well, then, hey, I have 2 of these coming up. If I come back out, you guys can make me a big plate of crow, and I'll sit down here with some salt and pepper, and there's a good chance Anthony Joshua could get it done, and Lauren Murphy could get stopped, but those would both be things that have never happened before. Usyk hasn't been beaten as a professional, never been rocked, never been outboxed. Murphy's never been stopped. And I think that's the bet with 2-1 odds. It sucks that you can't round robin it with a bunch of other of those upsets that I like, but I'll take 2-1 goes to decision. Right. Take that.
Never ain't never forever. Just remember that. But that's only the co-main event. And we'll talk about this whole card is stacked. We'll get to the fight of the night and other great fights later. But now let's talk about the main event, the one everyone's tuning in to see, the featherweight bout for the UFC featherweight championship. Volkanovski versus Ortega. And Joe's going to break it down for us.
Saturday night at UFC 266, featherweight champion Oleksandr Volkanovski puts his title on the line against top contender Brian Ortega in the main event. Let's break it down. Brian Ortega is 30 years old. He's 5'9" with a 69-inch reach and a record of 15-1-1 with 3 knockouts and 7 submissions. From Los Angeles, California, Ortega began training in Muay Thai at the age of 5 and at 13 took up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, eventually earning his black belt under Rainier Gracie. After training in boxing to sharpen his striking skills, he made his MMA debut in April of 2010, scoring a first-round triangle choke submission over John Sasson. He won his first 8 fights with 4 submissions before winning his UFC debut with a first-round submission over Mike De La Torre. However, the fight was later ruled a no contest after Ortega tested positive for steroids and was given a 9-month suspension. He returned to June of 2015, scoring a third-round knockout over Thiago Tavares, and followed that up 7 months later with a triangle choke over Diego Brandao. Next up, he faced UFC mainstay Clay Guida, engaging in a brutal back-and-forth brawl until he rallied back at the end of the fight with a flying knee knockout. He continued his meteoric rise with back-to-back guillotine chokes of Renata Moicano and Cub Swanson, and in March of 2018 became the first man to stop Frankie Edgar when he knocked him out with an uppercut followed by ground and pound. His hot streak came to a grinding halt in December of 2018 when, despite putting up a valiant effort, he was gradually outboxed and outclassed by then featherweight champion Max Holloway, suffering his first loss when the doctor waved it off at the end of the 4th round. On October 18th, 2020, after a nearly 2-year layoff, he returned against Chen Sung-jung, dropping the Korean zombie multiple times en route to a dominant and one-sided unanimous decision. A first-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Ortega has some of the most impressive grappling skills in the sport, as well as a solid jab and excellent counter-striking ability. Oleksandr Volkanovski is 32 years old. He's 5'6" with a 71-inch reach and a record of 22-1 with 11 knockouts and 3 submissions. From New South Wales, Australia, Volkanovski took up Greco-Roman wrestling at a young age, going on to win a national title at the age of 12, though he gave up the sport in his teens to pursue a career in rugby. After a successful run in the semi-pro leagues, where he weighed upwards of 214 pounds, he decided at the age of 23 to take up MMA, going 4-0 as a middleweight amateur before turning pro in May of 2012 with a unanimous decision over Gerhard Voigt. He won his next 2 in the welterweight division before getting stopped by a head kick and ground and pound in his 4th fight. He won his next 10 with 9 stoppages before making his UFC debut in 2016 with a second-round knockout of Yusuke Kasura. 7 months later, he dropped down to the featherweight division, defeating Mizuto Hirota, and followed that up with decisions over Shane Young and Darren Elkins, as well as a brutal TKO over Jeremy Kennedy. On December 29, 2018, he took part in an exciting, wild brawl with Chad Mendes, getting taken down multiple times before catching Mendes with a left to the body and a right to the head to score a second-round knockout, and continued his rise with an impressively dominant victory over former champion Jose Aldo. In December of 2019, he took on Max Holloway for the featherweight title, dethroning the champion with a highly tactical game plan that consisted of relentlessly attacking Holloway's lead leg to limit his offense while landing counterstrikes in the pocket. 7 months later, he made his first title defense with a controversial split decision victory in the rematch. A very technical, high-volume pressure fighter, Volkanovski possesses an impressive fight IQ
for more throwing jabs. Take care, boys.
Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clover Crest, top three corner man, punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Sleight of hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand in eighth, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing. Counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bring in crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is throwing jabs.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of